guys, hello everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. This is Lise Perez, your lifestyle coach, your master coach, the unstoppable coach for women, and I help women rise to become unstoppable leaders in their life and business by helping them activate their unique gifts. And welcome to day 201 of my 365-day live world tour. I'm so happy that you're here. It's quite windy, so my bangs might be getting in my face, but that's, you know, that's rawness and that's realism and that's authenticity, right? So thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy that you guys are here. You know, this is such a journey, kind of going on YouTube and doing my live challenges and my live videos. So you guys' support means everything to me. So I appreciate you. Hop into the comments and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and all of the fun stuff. And so we can, you know, stay connected and, you know, share your comments, share your thoughts, share everything about, you know, my messages, and if it resonates with you and if you receive value, I would appreciate it so much. And of course, if you guys receive value and you resonate with it, then please share among your network and let me know so that I can thank you for sharing, and I can even give a shout out to you guys on my next video. All right, so today what I wanted to talk to you guys about is your stories. And I know this sounds a little bit cliche, but your story can either do one or two things. It can be the glue that keeps you stuck, or it can be the fuel that lights you up, right? The fuel that lights you up. Now, what do you want your story to be? Because that, you know, the answer to that question, when you ask yourself that, and when you go through self-reflection and your own personal development, and when you ask yourself that question, what comes up for you? Because so often we all want our stories to embrace, you know, to light us up, right? But sometimes, I mean, when you're going, let's face it, let's be real, when you're going through your own struggles, when you're going through your trials, your tribulations, it just doesn't happen that way, right? It doesn't happen that way whatsoever. And so it ends up, you know, as time goes on, it ends up our stories end up keeping us stuck. That's just life. That's just how we go through things. That's just how we go through the things that we go through, right? We're only human. And so often we've been conditioned, so to speak, to have our stories keep us stuck, right? I spoke about limiting beliefs yesterday, and if you didn't, you know, pop into the previous video that I shared yesterday, my day 200. Right, and I spoke about limiting beliefs and you know, the barriers and the patterns that keep us stagnant, right? And so this is the same thing here. Your story can either make or break you, and that really depends on you, my friends. It really depends on you whether you want your story to light the frick up, light your world up, light the people's world up, you know, to inspire others with your story. Or it can either keep you stagnant. It can either, you know, be the glue that literally holds everything together. And although sometimes that might seem good in that sense, because, you know, as humans, we all kind of want to be the glue that holds people together, right? The peacemakers. But when it comes to our stories, we don't want to be stuck. I know, I'm sure you don't want to be stuck either. You don't want your story to keep you stuck. So here's the thing. As I said, it's really up to you whether you want your story to keep you stuck or not, or whether you want it to light you up, whether you want to embrace your story for all that it's worth, and to create magic with your story, to create prosperity, to create abundance, to be all the things, to get into a peak state, a high vibe state, a beautiful state with your story, right? That's really up to you, my friends. And you know, and if we can look at this on two sides of the coin, let's look at this from two different perspectives. The one perspective, let's look at the glue. Okay, the glue, what does it do? It's an adhesive. It holds everything together. Now, your story, be it that is made, like however way your story plans out, or however way your story plays out, can be the glue that really keeps you stuck. with that crazy glue that just we can do whatever we want to pry it open, to tear it apart, to do whatever we want to, to fix things and to resolve things, to do whatever we want with our story. But if it's held on to by freaking crazy glue, it's never coming off, and it'll keep you stagnant, right? It'll keep you stagnant. Like when you're using, think of it this way: when you're using crazy glue and you're sticking things together and you try to tear it apart, there's no way that sucker's little friggin' coming off. There's just no way that's friggin' coming off, right? It's gonna stay there, and it keeps it stagnant. You can't move it, you can't tear it apart, and if you do, it might break it. You might break fragments, shards, but the main part is staying there. And that's what happens when your story ends up keeping you stuck, because so often when we're going through trials and tribulations, we're sad, we're depressed, we're upset, we're not necessarily in a nice vibe, right? We're kind of in a little bit of a negative vibe. Not even a little bit, like a lot of a negative vibe, like a huge negative vibe, right? Our mindset is not really having that shift, that transformation, that breakthrough that we all want, that we all desire. But our stories tend to keep us stuck, especially when we're going through trials, when we're going through our own struggles. It keeps us stuck like there's no tomorrow. Like, it is ridiculous, because it's like we're all stuck in a darkness, and we all want to get to the light, but it just doesn't happen that way, because our story is keeping us stuck. We feel maybe ashamed of our story. We feel that our story is not enough. And that's where the limiting beliefs comes in, right? I shared yesterday about the limiting beliefs. I am not enough. So those limiting beliefs, the BS stories that we tell ourselves, keeps us stuck. It keeps us stuck like there's no tomorrow, and it doesn't matter what anybody does. The only way that can really pry it apart is us. The only way that we can really use it and transition it to fuel is us, is ourselves. As I shared, me, myself, and I. That's the only way that we can transition it. Now let's go back. Let's go on to the nicer side of the coin, the fuel that allows our story to light us up. There's also that side of the coin. Say you've been abused, say you've had mental health scares or mental health issues, or you had a death in the family, or whatever the case may be, any kind of struggle, trial, tribulation that you have, right? It's on this side. It's the glue. It's right here that keeps you stuck. Now there's this side that you can use this side to fuel it up. You say it works all together, right? You throw fuel into the flame, and your story will light you up. But not only does it light you up, it lights people around you up, especially when you have a voice to share your message. Because this part, the glue that sticks everything together, becomes your message, right? Your mess is your message. But your mess can only be your message if you don't allow your story to keep stagnant, if you don't allow your story to keep, to be the glue that keeps you stuck. That you're not able to push forward. You're not able to push past anything. You're not able to release. You're not able to forgive. You're not able to, focus on your spirituality or faith. It just keeps you so stuck. But when you allow your story to really be the fuel to your flame, it'll light every single part of you up, and not just you. When you are able to embrace it and actually release it out into the universe and release it out into the world, then the people that hear your story, it'll light them up too. So not only are you taking yourself out of the darkness, but you're taking other people out of the darkness. Because here's the thing, you go through your issues, you go through your trials and your tribulations and your struggles, because someday you're going to meet people that are going through very, very similar issues. And when that happens, then you're able to use your story to fuel, as a fuel. You're able to use your story to light people up, because you've already lit yourself up. You're powerful. You're unstoppable because of your story. There's true power in your story. honestly. If you don't believe it right now and you're sitting there being like, yeah, right, Liz, like I'm going through something you would probably never understand, I encourage you to try me, because as people might say, like I've gone through a lot of stuff, right? A lot of stuff with mental health, which I'll speak in other videos, and a lot of stuff with, finding my determination, my strength, my resilience, my perseverance, finding that I truly am enough, that my story is truly enough. And now I'm using it to light other people up, right? Just as you guys are watching me on YouTube. there doesn't get any great example than that. I'm using my story to share my message on YouTube, to share my message on my social media platforms, because I was finally able to, embrace it and allow it to light me up, so then I can light people up. But how are we able to light people up? And how are we able to use our story to fuel our desires, to fuel our message, to fuel our purpose, our God-given destiny, if we don't go through things ourselves, if we don't go through the struggles ourselves, right? That's where self-leadership comes in beautifully here, right? Because I shared another video a while back about being the candle to light the way, to pave the way for others, right? And so when we're going through our struggles, when you're going through your own struggles, you're going through your own trials and tribulations, just remember that you're currently being lit up yourself. You're currently being the candle. You represent the candle that is about to light the world up, right? And once that happens, then you're able to pave the way for others. But you need to light your candle first so that you can lead others along the way, right? So just remember, you're going through something because you're meant to go through something. And I know if you're sitting there and you're going through something right now, I know maybe that's hard to believe, because believe me, I felt the exact same way. I truly, truly get it, so I know where you're coming from. But as you're going through it, you just learn to trust the process, my friends. You just learn to really and remind yourself and tell yourself, I am lighting the way for others. It's a beautiful, beautiful incantation. I am lighting the way for others right now. And when you can embrace that and you can believe wholeheartedly in that concept, life becomes a beautiful journey. So many people say, I know, that's what happens when it's live. But so many people say that life's a struggle, that the struggle is truly real, and it is. The struggle is truly real, especially when we're going through the struggle, especially when we're right smack dab in the middle. The struggle is real. But if you can remind yourself that I'm going through this because I am lighting the way, my candle is being prepared, I'm getting ready, I'm getting prepared to light the way, because I have a destiny, I have a message, I have a voice to share. And when I'm ready, I will share it, and then life becomes a beautiful journey, right? Because you're not going through your crap just for the sake of going through it, right? You really aren't. And I know that's hard to believe. I get it. I so get it. Like, I know it's really, really hard to believe, especially if you're watching me right now and you're like, the stuff I'm going through, like, how am I ever going to push past it? But you just got to. It's, plain and simple. Hard to believe, hard to really say that, right? But you just, you just have to. You just have to go through it. You just have to push past it. Find a way. Find your own self-leadership in there. Find a way to push past anything that you're going through, any struggle, any trial. If you're going through mental health issues right now, if you're you might be suicidal, and I know it's hard for a lot of people to talk about, but if you're going through something right now, believe me, I went through it. At the time. I didn't believe that there was a life after this journey, but I was able to push past it, not by myself. There was no way in heck I would be able to do it by myself, but I was able to do it with God on my side, right? I have huge faith, very spiritual, and God was always on my side. So even if I felt alone, I'm married and I have kids, but even when I felt in my loneliest of days, when I was in my darkness and there was no way in heck to me that I would push past another day, that I would have the strength to push past another day. Well, God is on my side. He always has been, and He's on your side, right? So even if I felt alone, and even if I felt in the darkness and I did not see a light, there was always a light. There was always a light. Because even when I felt weak, even when I felt the weakest link, God was there to really, grab His hand and push me forward. It was, and that's how my mind shifted drastically. I received a radical change because I started to believe that even in my darkest of times, I was like, I've got to be going through this for something. Like, there just has to be a way. There's no way in heck I'd be going through all this heartbreak. There's no way in heck I'd be going through all this hurt, all the sorrow, all the pain that I feel through the struggles. There's got to be something at the other side of the tunnel. There's got to be a light. There has to be. Right? There has to be. When you think of a tunnel, when you literally think of a philosophical tunnel, a metaphorical tunnel, and when you're driving through the tunnel, it's dark, it's gloomy, right? There doesn't seem to be a way out, but guess what? There's always a light. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Always. Always, always, always. Right? There always is. But what happens when you go through 5 tunnels? Guess what? In the middle of each of these tunnels, there's always a light. So if you're going through one tunnel and it's dark and gloomy and creepy, guess what? There's a light until the next tunnel. Because metaphorically speaking, those tunnels represent your struggles, represent the trials, represent every single thing that you're going through, your heartbreak, your sorrow, your pain, anything. But at the end of those tunnels, remind yourself that there's always a light at the end of them. There's always is. And when you can remind yourself, and as I said, the tunnel may be long, because that's what happens with life. Your journey tends to be really, really long, because you're always going through something. You're always going through it. It's not like, always moonlight and roses. It's never like that. It's it's no fluff BS. Like, we're humans. It happens. It's bound to happen. We're always going to go through struggles. Every single time we go to a next level, we're always going to go through struggles. Every single time. But remind yourself that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Always. And even though, as I said, even though the tunnel might be freaking long, it might be hugely long, and it doesn't seem like there's a light and you can't see it, believe me, it's there. And you might even see it as faint. You might see it just a faint sliver of light, just this little brightness, this little light of hope, but it's there. You just have to go towards it. You just have to walk towards it. You just have to, trust the process, trust the journey, and remind yourself that life's a journey and you're going to go through something all the time. And even if you're sitting there and you're like going through something right now, and you're like, okay, this, she's right. I'm going through it right now, and I just kind of have to trust the process and understand that I'm going through something to help others, to impact others. I'm paving the way right now. I'm learning self-leadership, and I'm paving the way for others that are going through something, that will be going through something, and then I'm able to actually light the way for others because I've gone through it, right? And you can hold their hand and show them that they're not alone, But guess what? You're going to go through and say all of it is fine and dandy, and you've gone through your struggle and you've trusted the process, and everything is copacetic. Guess what? There's going to be another way that you're going to cross the next level, and you're going to find another struggle, or the struggle's going to find you. Just remind yourself of the previous struggles you went through. Remind yourself that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. It might be faint, but it's there. I call it the light of hope, right? And it's actually within us too. Most effortlessly, the light is within us. It's always there. It just gets surrounded by all the crap that we go through, right? That's the beautiful thing about stories. If you're reading a book, there's always a beginning, middle, and an end, right? And in the middle, there's always the plot twist. There's always, the person that, that is the enemy in the movie, or there's a plot twist that someone is going through a struggle. But does it end that way? No, it never does. At the end of the book, there's always like a happily ever after. Always. And I'm not talking about like a fantasy book, just any type of book that you read. There's always a plot twist. There's always some crazy struggle that someone is going through, that the main character is going through in the middle of the story. But at the end, they've gone through it. They've trusted the process, and they've led themselves, and they've gone through the thing that they needed to go through. And, you know, they found the relationship of their dreams or whatever the case may be. But the end of the story is always works out. They found their light at the end of the story. And if they didn't, well, guess what? There's some books that are like part 1, part 2, series 1, series 2, series 3, series 4, because all we can do is trust the process, right? All we can do is trust the process. Sometimes our book will never end. It seems like it's never ending. But if you remind yourself that even though it might seem long, even though your journey might seem long, or your struggle might seem really, really long and there's no light whatsoever, all you can do is just trust, because guess what? There's another part to your book. There's another growth strategy that you have to go through. There's another thing that you have to evolve. There's another characteristic you have to learn about yourself. There's another personality trait that you have to learn about yourself. And chances are it's resilience. It's somewhere along the lines of either resilience, perseverance, dedication, love, self-love, commitment to oneself, right? There's so many different things that make us who we are, that we have to embody. And in order to embody them, we have to use our stories to light us up. Every single part of our story is going to light us up sooner or later. Some may take longer than others. But if we don't believe that, and we just like to keep stuck, because guess what, my friends? The harsh reality is that if you're feeling stuck and stagnant because of your story, it's because of you and you alone. It's because of you and you alone, no one else. No one else. There might be some forgiveness there that you need to do. There might be some release of emotions, release of limiting blocks that you need to do. There might be some things that you need to do and you need to grow and evolve as a woman, right? There might be some little kinks that you have to iron out. I love to use metaphors. I love to use them, and you'll notice that I use metaphors all the time. So when I talk about kinks, if you're ironing clothes, right, there's always that really really hard freaking kink that you're trying to iron, and it just won't go through. It just won't straighten. It won't go smooth. Right? Life is like that. There's always going to be that one kink in that your piece of clothing, aka your struggle, that you have to go through. And you can try your darnest to really iron it out, because some kinks are easier to iron out than others. And then there's just that one little struggle, that one kink, that annoying little kink that doesn't seem like there's an end to this madness. Like you just want to get on with your day. Some of your struggles are like that. Some of your journey is going to be like that. But you just have to keep ironing. You just have to keep ironing and just smooth it out. Smooth out your transition. Smooth out anything that you need to do. Focus on yourself first and foremost. Focus on yourself first and foremost, because someone once told me, well, not someone, my husband, that in order to love others, you need to love yourself first and foremost. So you need to go through self-love if there's that one little kink, one annoying kink that you just can't iron out right now. Just trust the process. Just trust the process and understand that the kink is still going to be there, and it's going to smooth out for something. It's going to smooth out one of these days. It could be a few days. You might have to leave and come back to it, right? Take your iron out again. All of a sudden, you'll notice a little piece of it is going to be gone. You'll get excited, and then you'll go on another emotional roller coaster and be like, holy, like, this sucks, because the kink is still there. Well, because you have to go through something. Your story is not meant to hide from your own self. Your story is meant to inspire, to impact, to light up the world, right? And a lot of the times we just have to trust the process, and then you're going to come back and you're going to see, and then you're going to iron it out and be like, oh sweet, like this kink is gone. That's because you've grown and evolved. You've gone past that. You've embraced that part of you. And then one of these days, that kink is going to be gone, and you're going to be like, this is the greatest life ever. This is awesome. This, like, I'm proud of myself because I've gone through it. I'm proud of myself because I've gone through this, and I was able to go through it, but I didn't didn't believe that I could, but now your self-leadership comes into play, and now you can help others through it. You can, you can impact others, you can help others, you can inspire, and you can light up the world with that piece of your story. But guess what? Another struggle is going to hit you like there's no tomorrow, and just remember your strength, remember your perseverance, remember, I was going to say fortaleza, but that's strength in Spanish. And just remember how dedicated and how determined you are to really push past the previous struggle, because then you can remember that and you can honor that, right? You can remember it and you can honor it and be like, you know what? I gone through that, and holy crap, like, life was never the same because I was able to go through it. Yeah, there was kinks. Yeah, there was struggles. Yeah, there was trials. Yeah, there was tribulations, but I went through it. I was not alone because, as I said, God is always with you. God is always on your side. So, you're not alone in this. So even if you feel like you're alone, even if you feel like there's this darkness, and as I said, just remind yourself that there is a light. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a light straight ahead of you. You just keep focus. You just keep focus on it. It's funny because, it's tunnel vision. I spoke about a tunnel metaphor a few minutes ago, right? And so it's tunnel vision. You just keep focus on that light, and it's within you. It literally is within you. No one can take you out of this mess but yourself. And that's the beautiful thing about self-leadership. No one can take you out of this mess of yourself, and that's okay. That's okay. That is completely okay. Why? Because that's how you find your growth. That's how you find your evolvement. That's how you're able to become an even greater version of yourself, than your next level self. Right? When you go through life's journeys and you understand and you embrace your journey wholeheartedly, it becomes a beautiful concept for you, and it becomes a beautiful concept for others. It becomes an amazing, amazing thing for yourself. Amazing thing. Right? So don't keep stagnant. Don't keep stagnant. Don't allow your story to be the glue that keeps you stuck. We don't want to be stuck. Since even before you were born, God had a different purpose for you. God had a purpose for you, a beautiful purpose, a divine guidance for you, a God-given gift. He gave it to you graciously, even before you were born. You're set up to fulfill a purpose on this earth. So don't allow your purpose to really stay stagnant with your story. Don't allow your purpose to be glued to that part of you, to be glued to and keep you stuck. We don't want to be stuck. We don't. I know you don't. And I know you're looking at me and you're like, yes, I do, or whatever the case may be, right? But I know you don't. I can feel it through. I can feel it through that no one wants to be stuck. It's just sometimes it's really, really hard to not stay stuck, right? Because we feel all alone in this world. We feel alone in this life. But just remind yourself your life is not over. That you have a purpose. You have a God-given gift that He graciously gave to you. And you have a message to share. Your voice is your message. Your mess is your message. Your mess is your message. So use your story to light the world up. Be a life changer. Be a world changer. Because your voice matters. Your message matters. And your story matters. You've heard the concept, the power of your story. Because there's such power and such truth in your story. So if you can own that, if you can embrace it, if you can love it just as much as you love others, then you'll realize that your story truly does matter to everybody around you, to every single person in your network, even people that you haven't even met yet. Because what you're going through is something that someone in this world is going through. But God needs you to really go through it first in order to help that person, because eventually you'll meet them. Eventually you'll meet it. That's why your mess becomes your message, right? Eventually you'll meet the people that need to hear your story. But they don't want to hear that it keep you stuck. And actually, sorry, let me rephrase that. be honest and be truthful, right? Be authentic. So show people, demonstrate to people, share your message, and don't just share that, it fuels you up, that it lights you up, but share how it kept you stagnant, because at one point or another your story does keep you stagnant. But share how you got out of it. That's how your mess becomes your message. Share how you got out of it. Share how your story kept you stuck, and it was it was glue, and it was that crazy frigging glue. It was the kink in your ironing board in your clothes that you tried to iron and just wouldn't come out, right? Share how that became a transformation for you, because that is going to be someone else's breakthrough. Believe me on this. I wrote a book, right? And if you go into the comments, if you go into the description, you can click on the link for Amazon where my book is located. But it's called The Girl Behind the Mask. I Am an Overcomer, and I'll share about it in another video. I'll share in more details. But the point of me bringing it up is that my book, that became my message. I went through, it's my personal memoir, right? It's my personal memoir that I went through. It talks about breakthroughs. It talks about so many different things. My struggles, the struggle was truly real, that life is truly a journey, right? And it talks about my faith, it talks about my spirituality, it talks about every single thing. I didn't just write the book and be like, everything is fine and dandy, guys, everything is beautiful, I love life, it's like rah rah ha ha, no, it's not. It wasn't like that whatsoever. I spoke about my struggles, and I spoke about how I led myself through them, and it became my message, right? That's what the book is all about. And I'll share a bit more about it in other videos and next videos, but that's the point. You could be an author. Who knows what your destiny is? You'll find out your destiny sooner or later. When you're ready for your destiny, it'll show up for you, right? You just have to listen and trust the universe, trust God that your destiny will show up, right? The desires of your life will show up, but you have to go through your stuff. You have to go through your crap. Without swearing, that's the best way that I can really describe the struggles, right? Struggles just seems kind of like, yeah, okay, I got through a struggle, but your crap, your poop, right? Because literally that's how struggles are. But you have to go through it. You just have to go through it in order to light people up, right? In order to, find a way out of it. So, I hope this resonates with you guys, and if it does, I encourage you to share. I encourage you to really take a moment to share this video, right? Like the video, share the video with your network, share the video with the people that need to hear it, that might be going through something that I was just speaking about, that might be, that might be part of the glue that's keeping their story stuck, right? Share the video with them. I encourage you to share, and even just let me know that I've shared, that you've shared, and I can graciously thank you. I can gratefully thank you guys, and I can even give you a shout out on my next video if you want, and that would be super, super amazing, right? And that would be awesome. So, like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to click the little bell on this corner, I think. And once you subscribe to my video, and if you like the messages that I share, if you like the videos that I do, and you can receive all the notifications of when I go live next. As I mentioned, I go live every single day, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time so far, and it is subject to change as well. And that would be awesome. And also, you guys can also follow me on Instagram, the Coach for Women, the Coach number 4 Women, and you can like my Facebook page too, which is the Coach for Women. And you can even follow, if you're a woman and you're a beautiful badass boss babe, then feel free to follow my Facebook community and join my Facebook community, which is The Unstoppable Women. So all the links are in my description, and and on the screen as well. So, I love you guys so much.